Hi everyone, this video is to let you know that we'll be hosting a fundraiser for Samuel Young on my Twitch called Professor_Flowers, where people will come on and of course be talking about their disappointing experiences with the police during these protests, among other things. During this fundraiser, I'll be playing Pokemon Soul Silver on Saturday, August 8th from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. To watch the stream, click on the link below to access my Twitch. If you'd like to know any more about why this fundraiser is happening, keep watching. Content warning. This contains discussion about police brutality and footage of an attack on protesters. As some of you might have seen, a group of protesters, including myself, survived an attack at a protest for Elijah McClain on Sunday, July 25th. We marched to demand justice for Elijah McClain, as the officers who murdered him, Nathan Woodyard, Jason Rosenblatt, and Randy Rodema, still walk free. On Sunday, as we marched on the Aurora Highway, in the same city Elijah was murdered in, previous exits to the highway were blocked. This allowed people to get off the highway, but kept people from getting on. This makes protesting on the highway a minor inconvenience for others, while still bringing attention to Elijah McClain. This also keeps the protesters safe. The reason why I'm saying this is because while we were marching, Kyle Scott Fulkerson drove a Jeep into the crowd of protesters. And while people say that, of course, this would happen while you're on the highway, again, at that point, the only traffic on the highway was us.
What you will hear is the driver of the Jeep revving his engine, the white truck coming and hitting him, horns from security letting us know that this was happening, and then the Jeep proceeding to plow through the crowd, hundreds of feet in front of him, when he was nowhere to be found on that northbound side until that moment. So a wall of moms, Jeep revving, security honking, white truck saves our life. Jeep continues to rev through crowd. So you tell me at what point protesters were threatening him and why he had to fear for his life.
Fulkerson went around roadblocks just to run us over. He's driving so fast that if Sebastian Sassy had not used his truck to block him at the last moment, it's very likely that at least some of us would have died, and many, many more seriously injured.
I heard someone scream, "Hey, watch out for that Jeep, he's coming." I saw in my rearview mirror this turquoise blue Jeep was accelerating towards the crowd, which was only about 50 to 100 feet in front of me.
Dozens of protesters barely avoiding the Jeep. He says it was the sound of the crash that saved lives.
So he broadsided my truck, which slowed him down enough that it gave people a chance to get out of the way.
In fact, there was an injury. While jumping out of the way, someone fell about 20 feet and broke their leg. And this is where Samuel Young comes in. In defense of the crowd, Samuel shot at the Jeep that tried to run us over. I saw him do this. I was literally a few feet away from him. I am an eyewitness. This is why this situation haunts me and why I've tweeted about it almost every day. He was shooting at the Jeep, and others who saw him have attested to that. Unfortunately, one of the bullets grazed someone, and another hit a protester in the leg. Thankfully, everyone survived and will recover. But now, Samuel, not Fulkerson, is facing 4 accounts of attempted murder. Samuel is 23. His life could be ruined all because he tried to defend us from someone who had the intent to kill and injure us. Not only that, but to my knowledge, Fulkerson, the driver of the Jeep, was never arrested. Yeah, I thought they were arresting him, but it turns out they actually just escorted him home without any charges. Fulkerson walks free despite having eyewitnesses and footage of his attack, while Samuel is facing charges when he defended us. Unfortunately, this likely isn't just some sort of tragic misunderstanding. The police are likely doing this simply to mess with us. They don't like that we're demanding that the police officers who murdered Elijah McClain be held accountable. It hurts their ego because they actually have to face the fact that the police have murdered and protected murderers. They have to face the fact that people find it unjust that the police have been held above the law, and that we're here to protest this. Their egos are so fragile that they shoot at us, pepper spray us, and tear gas us when no one is being violent. I cannot stress this enough. They attack us regularly when we are being peaceful because they're petty. I'm not surprised, just disappointed. Thankfully, Samuel was released on bond. Now I want to apologize for the difference in audio in this next part. I wanted to correct some statements about bails and bonds, but in short, Samuel was released on bond. To me, this says two very important things. The first is that people who are seriously suspected of attempted murder, let alone 4 accounts of attempted murder, usually don't get a bail or released on bond because they're seen as a danger in their community. The fact that Samuel was able to get a bail set at all shows that the court doesn't see Samuel as a danger to his community, otherwise he would not be walking free. This, in addition to the fact that the police did not charge Kyle Fulkerson, the person we have footage and eyewitnesses of revving the engine into a crowd of protesters, but instead charged Samuel for shooting in defense, makes me think that the officers who charged Samuel know that he's not a threat to this society, and that these charges are to simply mess with not only Samuel, but all the protesters who are marching for Elijah McClain in Aurora. This message says, hey, if you defend yourselves from someone who is attacking you, but that defense is flawed, the police are going to use those flaws to charge you for attempted murder, because we don't like that you're demanding that the police be held accountable. Secondly, Samuel had to pay for his bail by using a bond. A bail is an amount of money that a defendant has to pay in order to be released from jail as long as they show up to their court dates and trial. If the person can pay cash for their bail, then nearly the full amount of money that they paid will be refunded after their court dates. However, if you cannot afford to pay cash for your bail, then you have to use a bond, which functions as a loan. And even if you're found innocent, there is a large portion of that bond that the defendant will have to pay and will never see again, even if they're found innocent. As I was looking this up, it was really sad to find out that the court system makes a huge profit from this system because a lot of people can't afford to pay cash for their bail and instead need to use a bond in order to pay. And it's the same with Samuel. I don't think that he'll be found guilty. There are a lot of eyewitnesses, such as myself, who would be happy to say in court that we believe that his actions were in defense. Not to mention the footage we have that shows that we survived an attack that he defended us from. I don't want to jump ahead here, but I believe that as long as Samuel has a competent lawyer, I believe that he will be found innocent. But even if Samuel Young is found innocent, he will still have to pay about $7,500 in bond fees, in addition to whatever the cost of a lawyer is. As I said earlier, I don't believe that this is all some tragic misunderstanding. I don't think that I'm reaching at all when I say that the charges towards Samuel and the lack of charges towards Fulkerson seem to have happened intentionally, not only to harass Samuel Young, but to demoralize the rest of the protesters marching for Elijah McClain. With all of this information, to me it really makes it seem that the police are so petty that they let the attacker go and are now putting this 23-year-old protester in a position where his entire life might be ruined because he defended a crowd from an attacker. Again, I'm not surprised, just disappointed. Today, I want to do something about this disappointment. I want to raise money for Samuel because I don't want someone to be locked up for life when they tried to protect us from someone who meant to seriously injure and kill us, especially when we have multiple videos and eyewitnesses that say what really happened. I don't want this person's life to be ruined simply because the fragile ego of the police can't handle that we're protesting them. I've obviously been very shaken by this event, but what has shaken me wasn't surviving the initial attack. It was surviving it and seeing that the attacker, Kyle Scott Fulkerson, walks free. What shook me was finding out that one of the people who defended us is facing false attempted murder charges. It was seeing the comments of people saying that they wish the Jeep had run us over. I'm not surprised by any of this, but even still, it's very distressing. This is a story that the police and news have written, and it feels very disempowering. But I've decided that I'm not going to internalize the story just in this way. Yes, someone tried to attack us, and the police didn't do anything about it. And yes, the police actually arrested and charged one of the people who tried to defend us. Again, no surprise there. But I and other people as well have decided that the story is not ending here. The part of the story that I and others have decided to write is that no matter how much the police try to mess with us, we're going to come together and stand with each other. As we've been doing this whole time. We're going to stand with Samuel because he defended us. We're going to continue standing with Elijah McClain. This is our part of the story that we're going to write. And I think our story is so much better than the pathetic and petty reality of the police. This fundraiser has and will make me a target of harassment. I have not and will not enjoy this. But I will say that I am excited to stand together with others and help clear Samuel Young's name. And I'm glad to say that we will keep on fighting for justice for Elijah McClain, because they are not going to stop us. Plus, I do think it would be fun to say that we fought fascism with Pokemon. So, if you're interested in fighting fascism with Pokemon and helping out Samuel Young, please click on the link in the description. Thank you, everyone.